she'll just to say. All right. Good evening, everyone. My iPhone says it is 6 p.m. Welcome to our city council meeting for Monday, October 23rd. Make sure we get the date correct. I hereby call our meeting to order. And Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Amara.
Present.
Holmes.
Here.
Riddell Harris. Here. Mayor Dowden Calvillo.
Present. Let the record show we do have a quorum for today's meeting. Councilwoman Amara, will you please lead the pledge?
Be happy to.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so very much. Well, we have a couple of proclamations on the agenda this evening. The first is for National Arts and Humanities Month. And I believe, I hope I don't, Miss Armstrong, you're present. Okay, well, if you'd like to meet me here at the lectern, I'd like to read this for you. Is it on? Yes, it is. Well, great. Well, thank you so much for coming up. We do have a proclamation this evening, and I'd like to read it for the purposes of the record. Whereas October National Arts and Humanities Month encourages us to explore the beauty and culture around us. It is the largest annual celebration of the arts and humanities in the United States, with festivities from coast to coast to honor NAHM. During October, we encourage you to reflect on the many ways arts and humanities contribute to our society. The Arts Council of Placer County promotes and advocates for all arts across Placer County to enrich and help develop the artistic culture of our region of Northern California and beyond. Since 1983, the Arts Council of Placer County has been building community throughout Placer County through arts and culture. We believe that art should be a part of everyday living, and that when it is, everyone in the community benefits. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor Alice Dowden Calvillo, on behalf of the City Council, declare the month of October to be National Arts and Humanities Month in the city of Auburn. And I'd like to give this to you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I'd like to welcome you up. I'm going to sign this for you, and I'd like you to welcome you up, say a few words.
Thank you very much. Oh, we so appreciate it. So I'm Tawana Armstrong. I'm the current chair of the Arts Council of Placer County. And we so appreciate your recognition for arts and humanity. I want to just give you just a little bit of a background with regards to the National Arts and Humanities Month. It is a collective recognition of the importance of culture in America. It was launched over 30 years ago, and it focuses on ensuring there's equitable access to arts at the local, state, and national levels. It encourages individuals, organizations, and diverse communities to participate in the arts, and it allows our businesses and our government to show their support for the arts. So, and lastly, it raises public awareness about the positive impact of the arts and humanities in our communities and in our lives. So we know that arts and culture, it helps to change public perception and promotes a crucial role that arts and humanities has in promoting individual well-being, addressing trauma, connecting cultures, highlighting inequities, and making our communities healthier and stronger. And that's exactly what we at Arts Council Placer County tend to do. We are celebrating 40 years. We just had our anniversary celebration. And we're also asking you to please join us November, which is officially Art Month for Placer County. And I did see the signs on my way in, the Placer Arts Tour is coming up the weekend of 10th, 11th, and 12th. So we look forward to hopefully seeing support there as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to give this to you. And
Yes.
again, thank you so very much. Easier. Multiple proclamation day. So it's good news, all good thing. We love that. Okay, the next proclamation will be for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And I think we have Cheryl. Are you here to accept the proclamation? So very pleased to have you. Thank you very much. Nice to meet you too. All right, and I'd like to read this proclamation also for the purposes of the record this evening. Domestic Violence Awareness Month, 2023 proclamation. Whereas October is annually recognized as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Although progress has been made toward preventing and ending domestic violence and providing support to survivors and their families, important work remains to be done. Policymakers and communities must work together to transform the conditions that cause domestic violence and support survivor-centered solutions. Domestic violence programs in California provide essential, life-saving services for survivors, their children, and communities. There is a need to support and amplify prevention and programs and community-based strategies to create healthy environments and decrease the likelihood of perpetration, thereby stopping domestic violence from occurring in the first place. California has higher rates of domestic violence experienced by both men and women when compared to the national average. The marginalization of certain groups in society, including undocumented individuals, transgender individuals, and people living with disabilities, increases their vulnerability to domestic violence. Domestic violence is the third leading cause of homelessness among families in the United States. Recognizing the need to understand the complexity of violence as perpetrated within communities and against communities, and the fear of many survivors to report to law enforcement. All survivors deserve access to culturally responsive programs and services to increase their safety and self-sufficiency. All communities deserve access to I think that is almost the same thing. Yeah, same point, but we'll say it again because it's important. Responsive prevention programs and initiatives to improve overall community health and safety by challenging the societal norms that perpetrate violence. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor Alice Dowden Calvillo, on behalf of the City Council, declare the month of October as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So thank you so much for being here today to receive this proclamation. And I'd like to give you an opportunity to say a few words.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, Council members. I'm Cheryl Marcel. I'm the new CEO of Stand Up Placer here in Placer County. So we are the agency of 501c3 that serves nearly 3,000 survivors every year in this county. About 3/4 of those are victims of domestic violence. And I have a couple of my staff members here today, McKenna and Jenna. We'll give you a purple ribbon to indicate that your support of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. My business card is there. I'm just down the street here at Auburn. And so I would love to follow up with many of you and meet you a little bit more. If you are interested in supporting us, we do have a fundraiser on Friday. It's at Crooked Lane, and it's called Stand Up and Sing. So you can come out and sing and support our organization through a fun evening on Friday evening. So we thank you for your support. We work hard every day on behalf of survivors, and it's critically important work. And we're delighted to do it. And I'm delighted to lead this talented team of folks doing the important work on behalf of survivors in our region. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Several years ago, I had the opportunity to serve on your board of directors when you were Peace for Families. So in the early 2000s, and it was an important, very important work. And so we truly do appreciate all the work that you do for our community. And so we're very grateful to have you here providing such an important service. And here's your proclamation. So again, thank
I
you.
would say too, one other quick thing, we are looking for volunteers for the board. So if you know of other community members in the region that are interested in working with a nonprofit and helping to support our mission, please have them direct their inquiries to me. I'd be happy to talk to them about that.
Do you want to get a quick
Yes,
picture with
maybe.
your proclamation? Thank you. Thank you. All right. Last but not least, this is a proclamation to honor the Protect American River Canyon for their 50th anniversary. And Tim, why don't you come on up? Tim is the president, and I've already given him this proclamation. I attended Park's 50th anniversary celebration with my daughter. And it was a great opportunity to really get that history. I remember, of course, many of those years, but to just see all the folks that are so committed to our canyon. And I, again, as I mentioned to you, how I appreciate the ability, our partnership that we've developed over the years and really promoting our canyon and all the great things that it has to offer all of us from so many different perspectives. So with that said, I'd like to read this commendation. Whereas Protect American River Canyons is an Auburn-based community organization that for 50 years since its founding in 1973 has worked to protect the natural, recreational, and cultural resources of the North and Middle Forks of the American River. Park has a long history of community outreach aimed at educating the public about the history, scenic beauty, environmental importance, and recreational opportunities of the American River Canyons. Park's efforts in this regard have included writing and publishing a guidebook to the trails, rivers, natural resources, and cultural history of the Auburn State Recreation Area, creating and publishing a detailed trail map of the Auburn State Recreation Area, sponsoring an annual Confluence Festival for 21 consecutive years, as well as numerous other river-related film festivals and public events. For the last 11 years, conducting an annual scholarship essay contest for local high school seniors, and organizing annual spring and fall river cleanups for events for more than 25 years that have resulted in the removal of tons of trash, old cars included, from the canyon trails and beaches. In 2003, Park supported the Auburn City Council's designation of Auburn as the endurance capital of the world. Park has consistently worked with the California State Parks to enhance recreational opportunities in the Auburn State Recreation Area, while also protecting the canyon's natural and cultural resources, and to implement effective measures to reduce wildfire risks to Auburn and other canyon rim communities. In 2021, Park collaborated with the City of Auburn to introduce electric shuttle bus service from Auburn to the Confluence. Park's publication and other public outreach efforts have helped attract new residents, businesses, and visitors to Auburn, resulting in significant economic and quality of life benefits to the City of Auburn and its residents. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor Alice Dowden Calvillo, on behalf of the City Council, commend and congratulate Protect American River Canyons on the 50th anniversary of its American River Canyon stewardship and public education efforts. And I will also allow you the opportunity to say a few words as well as I sign your proclamation for the second time.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. It's an honor to be recognized by the City Council for 50 years of community service. More than anything, I think myself, I'm the president of the board of directors of Park, and myself and my fellow board members, obviously we're passionate about the canyon, about the river and the work that we do, but we're also, just in love with this community. It's such a great town, and we're honored to be one of the many local community groups that help make Auburn what it is. Reflecting on 50 years, obviously I haven't been involved with Park for 50 years, only about 30 years. But I can tell you much has changed. 50 years ago when Park was formed, Auburn Dam was under construction. Not many people thought, I think a lot of people probably wondered what we were doing because it seemed like a hopeless cause to stop that dam. From the beginning, our focus wasn't so much on that, but it was on spreading public awareness of just what a treasure the American River Canyon is and what the river means to this community and what it can mean. And it's been heartening to see over the years how public perception has changed and how people in this community have really come to value the river and what it brings to this community, what it really does mean to Auburn. So we're honored. It's been great to work with the city of Auburn and other local public entities. There's much more to be done to keep this canyon at its potential for recreational use, as well as keeping our community safe. So we look forward to continuing to work with the city of Auburn in the future. And again, thanks so much for this honor. Thank you. I wanted to say one more thing. I meant to single out one of your distinguished board city council members, and that's Councilman Mike Holmes, who as I didn't mean to startle you, Mike, but Mike has been with Auburn with Park for decades, you know, from his earlier stints on the Auburn City Council. Just a stalwart, helping us, supporting us, making sure Auburn State Recreation Area got the support it needed. We had some funding hiccups about 15 years ago, and Mike was right there, going back to Washington, D.C., going to bat for the canyons. So, Mike, a special thank you to you.
All right, thank you so very much. As mayor, I had a couple of other comments I wanted to make. Of course, on our agenda later tonight, we will be discussing how to fill the vacancy that has been left as a result of former council member Daniel Berlant's resignation. And so we won't be recognizing Councilman Berlant at this time. We do have something for him, and we will be having the opportunity to make our remarks and to thank him probably at our reorganization meeting. So I just wanted to let folks know that even though that's on the item, one of the items on tonight's agenda, we won't be talking about him particularly, except that we need to fill that vacancy. But we do miss him. We noticed that we are only 4 here, but we're not over. That's not an oversight. It's just we're going to push that over a little bit. I also just wanted to make a comment with regards to fire department services. I know that this has been an issue that's been talked about, you know, social media, things of that nature, folks asking. You know, we haven't had a council meeting, I guess, almost a month now, correct? Because we canceled our last council meeting, which was 2 weeks ago, which is when this announcement and this decision happened 2 weeks ago. But after very careful deliberation by both the city manager and our interim fire chief, unfortunately, due to several different reasons, one of which is the fact that we had to freeze 4 of our firefighter positions due to the budget constraints that were created when we had to increase salaries because we were so woefully behind on our salaries for firefighters. And through the collective bargaining, we were able to get those salaries up so that we can now recruit and retain firefighters. But one of the side effects, unfortunately, was it caused us to have to freeze those 4 positions. Something that I have been saying over and over and over again is that we need to be able to find funds that we can, sustainable funding to bring those firefighters back, not back, but to unfreeze those positions. Nobody was laid off. We just simply froze those positions. So we've been operating under that particular formula, but then recently we've had a couple of other events. Obviously, we've had a battalion chief leave, went to another jurisdiction. Our other battalion chief was promoted into the interim fire chief role. And so we're having to backfill those positions with lower level folks coming up, working out of class. And then we've also had some of our fire personnel going out on medical leave. And so as a result, it was really the perfect storm. And what that has caused us to do is to have intermittent closure of Firehouse 3 at Maidu. That's intermittent fire closure. I want to make that clear. We fully anticipate, as we are doing quite a bit of recruitment for our vacancies, and we're hoping to get some folks on board so that we can open that station back up all the time. But it is a side effect, again, of multiple things. It was a perfect storm that led to that. But I think that I speak on behalf of my colleagues that we are all fully committed to ensuring that our community is fully protected from a fire perspective. We know that our interim chief is doing his very best. We still have those relationships with other jurisdictions so that if there were something here to happen, the calls for service would come out and we would we would be able to ensure that we are protected. Our fire department continues to work very well. I know we had a fire that, I don't remember what the fire name was, but they're below the ranger station just very recently. And all the our fire department and other fire personnel were able to get on that and put that out. Luckily, we were very incredibly fortunate. Also, this rain was a huge blessing, you know, and I think that will absolutely help us too with regards to our wildfire season. So I just wanted to go on the record and just let folks know, this is not something that we were meaning to quote unquote hide from the public. We just did not have a city council meeting at the time the decision was made. And again, we are fully committed to ensuring that we can get up and running and maintain that fire station, get it open. So just wanted to, again, say that for the purpose of the record and move from there. All right, council, next item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Unless there's any objection, I'll consider the agenda approved. Hearing none, that shall be the order. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Council members, are there any desires to remove any items from consent?
Yes,
Yes, Councilman Holmes.
I'd like to remove item 2 and item 6.
Item 2 and 6. I'm going to remove item 5. Any other removals, council? Well, 6, yes, actually, 6 has been pulled. I should have said that when we talked about the agenda approval.
Right.
Um,
So item number 6 has been taken off the agenda, so staff can do a little bit more work on that item before we bring it back, potentially bring it back.
Okay, so just for the purpose of the record, then, the agenda has been approved as amended to remove item number 6. It simply will not be discussed today. Going back to the consent agenda, items 2, 5, and 6 have been removed. Are there any requests to remove items from the consent agenda from the public at this time? Yes, Councilwoman. Yes, I took it off
Item 6
consent.
was removed.
I
Item
took
5
5 off consent. Yeah. All right, I'd like to extend an opportunity for the public. Are there any requests to remove items off consent? Yes, come on up, Bob.
My name is Bob Snyder, and I've been a member of the Fire Safe Council. Actually, I'm not now, but I was
So
since
is
this.
there an item you want to remove from the consent agenda?
Oh, no, I thought this was public. comment.
Okay, no.
Not quite yet.
Not yet.
My apologies.
No worries. That'll come up very soon. All right, all right. Can I have a motion then for the adoption of the consent agenda as amended?
I'll move to adopt as amended.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Amara.
Yes.
Holmes.
Aye,
Riddell Harris. Aye. Mayor Dowden Calvillo.
Aye. Let the record show the consent agenda has been adopted as amended. Councilman Holmes, I know you removed item number 2. It's my understanding that you are seeking appointment to as the liaison to the Old Town Business Association.
yes, that's correct.
With that said, I don't have any objection to that. I was made aware that you were interested in that after the agenda was appointed, was published. So, and I just want to remind all of the council members that when we are appointed to our various committees and commissions, either as a voting member or just as a liaison, it's important that we bring back information from those committees and commissions, the meetings that we attend, and that we update the council under the council committee report item so that we can all be updated on what's happening in our respective areas. So even if you're a liaison, to just keep us all apprised and also the public, because we can take a look at minutes, but we want to make sure everything is on the record. So just as a friendly reminder. Okay,
I have a question.
yes.
Yeah, I thought, I was under the understanding that I was the liaison for the Fire Safe Council for the time being, but I see there's nothing.
That was the actual point on the chart that shows the actual person to be appointed, which does not have to be a city council member. Daniel had served as not only the liaison, but also one of the city of Auburn seats. So that's the seat that's open. But you're welcome to be the liaison if you would like to be the liaison for the Fire Safe Council.
Yeah, I'd be happy.
So we'll put Councilwoman Amara as a liaison, but we fully anticipate making the formal appointment for the voting member at our next meeting. We do have someone that has been reviewed by the Fire Safe Council and recommended for appointment. So that appointment will be at our next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, there's a couple of changes to the appointments. Any further discussion on that or questions or comments? Any public comments on the revisions to mayoral appointments, item number 2? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, any online?
There is not.
Okay, thank you so much. Do I have a motion to adopt the mayoral appointments as amended?
I move as, to approve as amended.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call a roll.
Councilmember Amara.
Aye.
Holmes.
Aye.
Riddell Harris.
Aye.
Mayor Dowden Calvillo.
Aye. And let the record show that the appointments have been made unanimously. Next item on the agenda that was, we took off consent was item 5. This is the authorization to accept funds and permission to advertise for the Baltimore Ravine Shaded Field Break. So, Chief, I did not have any questions at all, but I felt that this was such a significant accomplishment on behalf of the fire department that it warranted a little bit of, a cheering. So I'm very grateful. This is a $797,000 grant from CAL FIRE's Wildfire Prevention Grant Program. It will go to initiate field break along 1 mile of I-80, a total of 120 acres, direct mitigation to 380 homes, and then obviously a greater mitigation effort for the surrounding area. And this is something that's going to be a two-year project, correct? I mean, the mitigation, and then another 2 years of abatement.
Yes, Mayor, Council, Interim Chief John Rogers here. Thanks for the opportunity to stand up here this evening. I'm going to actually let the subject matter expert speak on that tonight. But before I turn the microphone over to her, I also wanted to say thank you for her grant writing efforts. She's secured almost $820,000 of funds in the last 6 weeks. So 20,000 from the California Fire Foundation, and $797,000 from CAL FIRE. So I wanted to extend my sincerest thanks, and I'll turn the microphone over to her.
Absolutely. And this is exactly why I wanted to take this off the consent, because this is tremendous work. And thank you so much. You're a phenomenal grant writer. I mean, this is incredibly impressive. And so we really, truly, and the city's contribution, it's my understanding, is about $52,000 over 4 years.
Yeah. Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council. Lindsay Davidson, Community Risk Reduction Manager. Yes. So this is the span of 4 years, and it is only $52,000 approximately in match in kind funds. So it's basically just my salary for working on the project and working with contractors and getting all the scheduling done.
Well, it's excellent work. And again, thank you so very much. I just wanted to have that opportunity to publicly thank you and to mention such a great effort and great fire protection efforts for our community in Baltimore Ravine area. So
I'd like to say,
yes.
yeah, I would also like to say thank you very much. It's very impressive. And this is just what our community has been asking for, is grant writing and being the recipient of grants and keeping our canyons safe. I've had constituents who live in the rec area and Baltimore Ravine area call, and they're very excited. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Yes, Councilman Holmes.
Yes, have a question about some of this adjoins the property owned by the United Auburn Indian Community. And has this been liaisoned with them as well?
It has, yeah, approximately 10 acres on the UAIC property. In the grant writing process, we worked with them and have come to the agreement that they are going to perform that work due to the cultural resources found on the property. So they have a coyote crew that is a land crew that can do all the fuel reduction work. So we're going to contract with them. And yes, they'll have a fee attached to that, but we're going to work with them and work through that, and they'll do the work on their own property.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of coordination because there's UP property as well. So, and then there's obviously private property that will be impacted. So great. Again, thank you so much. Since we did take this off consent, I'd like to open this up for public comment. Is there any public comment on this item? Hearing none, I'll bring it back. What's the pleasure of the council? Do I have a motion?
We approve authorization to accept funds and permission to advertise the Baltimore Ravine Shaded Fuel Break.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Amara.
Yes.
Holmes.
Aye.
Riddell Harris.
Aye.
Mayor Dowden Calvillo.
Aye. Let the record show the motion has been adopted unanimously. Thank you very much again. Thank you. All right, item number, so that's it. 6 was already removed. So next item on the agenda, this is public comment. This is an opportunity for any member of the public to address the council on items that are not scheduled for discussion today. Our public comments are limited to 3 minutes. We do have a fun timer over here, our clerk. She's Red means stop, I guess, right? So,
Red
and
flag
again, I just want to remind council members that during public comment is an opportunity for us to hear items. Council cannot take any action or direction on those items. We can simply receive them. So I want to encourage us not to have back and forth discussion on public comments. And with that, I will hereby open public comments.
I have a quick
Oh.
comment.
Yes.
It's just a reminder to everyone. Please try and use the on-demand bus on the weekends. It's available until 11 p.m. So especially on Friday night and Saturday night, and we're in danger of losing that opportunity if we don't have more ridership. So I just want to make that public to everybody. Do the best you can, go downtown, enjoy yourself, and then take the on-demand bus. They have an app. You just simply, hit the app and they'll be there, wait a few minutes, and they bring you right to your home. So just a gentle reminder, I'm going to try and do it as much as I can, and I hope everyone else will too.
For $3.50 a ride.
Right. And
It's
if
the
you're
cheapest ride in
old like
town.
me, you get even less. So.
All right.
I just had a quick
Yes.
thing. I just wanted to say thank you to ARD for the wonderful Harvest Festival that went on this weekend. That was great fun. My daughter performed with her dance club and all kinds of fun things were happening. Very large pumpkins this year. And then I also wanted to say downtown is having their event this weekend. And then there's also going to be trick or treating in downtown and Old Town on Halloween. So make sure to bring your kids out.
DBA announcement.
Oh, I was
sorry.
gonna,
Sorry, I was just talking about all the fun Halloween stuff.
lots of great, yes.
Yeah.
And the Harvest Festival, it was probably, one of the best in several years for us. My daughter and I were busy buying all kinds of fun things and just chatting with people, and it was a lot of fun. That's 26 years they've been doing that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and open up public comment. Is there any public comment? Yes, this is the time, Mr. Snyder.
Thank you.
We're going to start the timer. We're going to,
How long do I have? 3 minutes.
you better hurry up.
I can do it in 3 minutes. I could have spoken on the last item because you've just now got we'll have a new shaded fuel break over in Baltimore Ravine that is all on city property. But we have had one for 15 years on government property, private property, all along the riverside of Auburn. And it's been a fantastic benefit to us because it's provided us some protection. What we don't have and what you won't have with this new grant, even though you're going to start and do it, you don't have an ongoing maintenance program. This is a serious oversight because all of this funding comes from grants. And it's awfully hard to schedule maintenance on a timely basis when the grants aren't there. I want to help you understand that this particular shaded fuel break I'm talking about, the existing one, is multiple jurisdictions, the county, the city, federal agencies, private property owners. It's much more complicated than, I think, Baltimore Ravine. But it's the most important shaded fuel break we have because the fires, we think, might start in the canyon and come up the hill. Somebody here needs to sit down with the county and decide how a maintenance program plan gets put together and how it gets funded. Through the grant program, however you want to do it, but it's not maintained on a regular basis now because of the irregularity of the grant program. Years will go by and nothing happens. And then all of a sudden we get a grant and it gets maintained. But it's not the way we should be managing something as important to us as shaded fuel break. I'll be happy to help in any way I can, but I really believe it starts with the county and the city and maybe a federal agency to figure out how it can be maintained on a regular basis. We have a prescription of what it's supposed to look like, written words that say it should look like X. But what we don't have is a regular maintenance program. It's almost like buying a brand new Lexus or whatever kind of car you want. Thank you. and not taking care of it, not having a plan to make payments to change the oil or whatever you have to do to Lexus these days. And I think it's a gross oversight by us. Now, the Fire Safe Council will be a player in this, certainly, and you can delegate some action to them. That's fine, but there's nothing there now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Additional public comment?
Yes.
Can we, you, at the 3x3, you'll probably work with the county, and I'm sure you've been discussing.
Councilman Holmes?
Yes, I just wanted to mention, as the community knows, Station A down
Oh,
in,
Councilman. I was going to report on that. I got that. Station A, the closure. I have up-to-date information from today, and I was going to report on that during the council.
You mean the post office?
Yeah.
okay, well, I'm reporting as well.
Okay. But I'm just letting you know, I just got information late this afternoon.
Okay, well, so a lot of us in this community rented post office boxes there to help Station A maintain open and so forth. And so about 10 days ago, I wrote a letter to myself at the address at Station A. And I went 3 times to the Nevada Street post office to pick it up. And finally, today, I was able to get it. So that was, so it took 10 days or so to get it from my mailbox to picking it up at the, so this is not working out very well. And I had something else I was going to say about that, but I'll let the mayor, because there is something that is going on to turn that over to a private individual. However, I think we need to, and I've talked to Kevin Kiley, our congressman's office, about moving something forward to get that replaced as a contract with the Postal Service.
Thank you. That was quite ingenious of you to write yourself a letter to see how long it took you to get your letter.
Well, I wouldn't say it was ingenious. It was just something that I thought I'd better test and see how accurate this is going to be. So,
All right. Thank you very much, Councilman. I appreciate that. And as I mentioned, I'll report. I guess I can just report on Station A now since we already talked about it. But I did post on Facebook. There is a small business owner. Her name is Tina, and with her son, they are, I mean, they're very committed to this, going to open a locksmith and a mail services store at Station A. They are committed to ensuring the historical integrity of those boxes, the service counter, everything that's there. Just really doing a deep cleaning is really what they are trying to do. And so it's great. I've been working with her. I'm not really working with her, but we've been talking quite a bit about it. There was a little bit of a hiccup because it looked like at one point the postmaster that's overseeing that post office, or the old post office, had said something about removing all the boxes. And so we dealt with that issue. It appears at this time there's a tentative agreement that the boxes will stay, but she has not received the actual formal official word. So I will tell you, this has been one crazy roller coaster ride with that Station A. But they are committed to providing mail services there, bringing boxes back. So those of us like Councilman Holmes and myself, who both have PO boxes that are now at the Nevada station somewhere, you don't even have a box. You just have to ask customer service.
yeah.
And I know there's many people that are in the same position as we are. It wasn't managed well, but they will offer box services there, stamps, all kinds of things. So I'm pleased. It's the next best thing. If we can't get a formal post office there, to have a business there that is providing mail services and locksmith services. This would be a second store for them. They have another store in Rio Linda that's been operating for more than 35 years. So, but very committed, and they're opening, right, their opening date is October 31st. So just to kind of let folks know, it's again, right now, today, as of, I think it was 5:30 this afternoon, Tina had received the informal word that they were allowed to keep those boxes, but the formal word still needs to come down. If there still is an order that the boxes be removed, then we will again get engaged in that issue. And really, we're looking at the historical integrity. It would be a shame for those boxes to be removed and then thrown in the garbage. That's history.
Yeah.
And that's why the city's involved, and at least I'm involved. I know Councilman Holmes has a stake in this as well, because what a shame that would be. And I don't think any of our community wants to see that happen. So we are committed to doing all that we can to help that process. So that's the update. Thank you so much, Councilman Holmes, for letting us know about the mail services and how long that was taking, but we will continue to work on that. All right. We've kind of deviated from council public comment to regular public comment. So let's go back to regular public comment. Is there any? Yes, please come up to the lectern. 3 minutes. I guess we're supposed to have 3 minutes too.
I think
This is a lot more than 3 minutes, but I'll go fast. My name is Jared Turner. I've been a resident in Auburn for almost 41 years. My wife, Jennifer, and myself opened an electrical contracting company 20 years ago, and our office is right here in Auburn. November 1st of 2019, my wife and I purchased the Monkey Cat restaurant. While owning the restaurant, I thought it would be beneficial for me to be more active in the community, so I later became a board member of the Downtown Business Association. After taking ownership of the restaurant and becoming a board member of the DBA, I really got a good understanding of tax revenue and what it does for our municipality. After hearing some of the financial hardships throughout the community about our municipality, I came to the conclusion that I wanted to help. With the city limits having limited expansion, I brainstormed on what would create a lot of tax revenue without a huge footprint. In 2019, my company, Turner Electric, we did the first permitted marijuana grow facility in Sacramento. During that 18-month design build project, I received an extensive education in cannabis. I learned how it grows, the strains, the benefits, the impacts, the control, the security, but what stood out the most was the overall demand for it. Then the answer came to me, a cannabis dispensary. California has reported $5.3 billion in legal cannabis sales in 2022. What does that mean for Auburn? The simple answer is an opportunity to capitalize on tax revenue. In my studies, it's typical that a municipality that has an approved cannabis dispensary applies an excise tax of 4% to the total purchase price of each sale. Along with the sales tax percentage received, this could generate a substantial tax revenue for Auburn. Municipalities with a similar population as Auburn that have an active cannabis dispensary are generating between $2 and $5 million in gross sales each year. The unique part about Auburn is that it's a main retail hub for 9 neighboring towns. It also plays as a catcher's mitt to mountain travelers who stop here for places like Ikeda's, In-N-Out, Moonraker, Knee Deep Brewing, to mention a few. I have an example here of a similar sized city, which is California City. It's down in near Southern California, 100 miles north of Los Angeles, with 14,973 residents. In 9 months, they've already produced $2.7 million in gross sales with a similar city as ours. So I am proposing a marijuana dispensary for Auburn. And I know right now that we would have to change a few laws to introduce this, but I do have an executive plan that I put together. I had distributed a first round, but I do have a final round. And can I deliver this to you guys? So each one of you have?
Go ahead and give it to staff, please. To city manager.
I'm out of time, but that's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any additional public
I'd like to just,
Because
I know, but we can refer it to staff. Any item that's on the public comment. So I would like to, I listen and I don't want to be remiss here. So I think it's worthwhile to refer to staff. The cannabis and see, I don't know anything about it. I'd like to hear more about it. And if what you say is what I heard is true, I think we at least need to look into this, and I'd like it to be referred to staff and brought back.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'd like to look into this and get some more information and maybe just have a discussion about it as a council.
my request is that you have two council members that are wanting to bring this back to the city council. I would absolutely like there to be a third member, a fifth member of the city council before anything comes back to staff. I think it's important. So,
I think it'll take that long to come back. So,
but I want to make sure that's clear.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other public comment at this time? Okay, we're going to close public comment and move on to the agenda. Next item on the agenda, our only action item of non-consent action item is city council vacancy. We're going to talk about how to fill the city council vacancy by appointment or calling special election. And our city manager, would you like to introduce it, please?
Whoa. Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Mayor, and I'll kind of tag team with the city attorney on this. Don't want to try to play a city attorney on something like this. So the action requested tonight is for council to hold a discussion and provide direction to staff on how to fill the council vacancy by appointment or by calling a special election. Staff's recommendation is to fill the vacancy by appointment because of the costs of holding that special election. So as council knows, Daniel Berlant submitted his letter of resignation from the council effective Sunday, October 15th, because of a potential incompatible office issue created when he was appointed as California's next state fire marshal. So good for him, not good for us. And I tried to talk his wife into applying, but I don't think she's going to go for it. I figure if one person is out of the house on Monday night,
somebody
keep it in
has
the
to watch
family.
the kid.
Yeah, right. So because of this vacancy that's been created, his resignation triggers a 60-day period that started on Sunday, the 15th, which would then run to December 14th for the council to either appoint an eligible successor, and there Gary can talk about the requirements for an eligible successor, or call a special election to fill the vacancy. That's part of the government code. If the council appoints the successor, that person appointed would hold the office until the November 2024 election. November 2024 election. So you would be, if council decides to go with the appointment would take effect as soon as we can get somebody appointed. There's a outline of time frame that I have later in the staff report. That person would hold office until the November 2024 election, at which point there would be another election for the short-term seat, filling out the remainder of Councilmember Berlant's seat, which runs until 2026. So it'd be a short-term seat, 2-year seat. The other option would be to hold the special election. We would do that either March 5th, 2024 for the statewide election, the primary election, or I believe it could go to November 2024 as well. The reason that staff is recommending that council look at appointment is the cost of a special election would be based on numbers that we got from the clerk recorder's office. The cost of that would be between $80,000 and $150,000. And so just based on the fiscal cost alone, we're recommending that council look at the appointment process. There's no specific way that council would have to, nothing is set out in state statute on how you would appoint somebody. Just going through this recently in Loomis for another elected position, the process that we followed there that I would recommend that council look at is that we have the clerk post a notice of vacancy on the city's website and through the city's social media, and then provide that notice to local media on tomorrow. Individuals interested in being appointed the position would complete the city's application and then provide that to the city no later than November 17th. And then council would consider applications and make the appointment at the city council November 27 regular meeting. November 27th. So applications are released October 24th. This is what staff's recommending at least. Applications released October 24th, applications due November 17th. And then council appoints at the regular November 27th council meeting. We haven't talked about the process of, are there standard interview questions, or do the interview questions just deviate council member to council member, whatever you want to ask? It can go either way you want. The interviews do need to happen in public because you're filling a public seat though. So that's a kind of trial by fire for an incoming council member for sure. Right.
I just had a quick question with what you said.
Sure.
So on the last time we did this, are you proposing that the interviews all happen in one night and in the decision?
That's how I have it in the staff report, but there's, like I said, there's no specific way to do it. And my understanding, talking to Amy, is the last time this happened, there were interviews one night and then a special meeting the next night for the
Yeah.
appointment. You'd certainly do that too.
Okay.
Completely
That'd
up to
be
you.
long.
Yeah, and I had asked our city clerk to pull up that information because
Yeah.
even though I was in it, I thought that there was
Two.
two. Yeah. And, it could be that we actually need 2 nights of interviews. We have no idea how many applicants we're going to get. So,
Right.
I'm fine with the proposed schedule, but I would like to just say that, to ask the council members to hold open November 28th for a special meeting, should we, so that we can appoint someone or have second round of interviews or what have you, depending on how many people. I don't know if that works for folks. If you look at your calendars, we all reach for our phones because that's how things are today. But to have a special meeting on the 28th for the purposes of appointment, is that?
That's fine.
I'm normally not in town, but I'll see what I can do.
I do appreciate that. And that would just be consistent with what the process was that we did just a couple of years ago. So I know that we did have an application form already developed last time. I don't think there's any need to revise that. But I don't know how this council decided upon questions since I was on the receiving end of those questions. So I don't know if I don't remember
I
if
don't
people had their own questions or if our city clerk, do you remember how that was managed? Or Gary, Gary knows, our city attorney knows.
Yeah, the questions were developed and by staff and then were approved and by all of you all. There were uniform questions that were asked of all the candidates
Okay.
at that time. Some benefit to doing it that way for a variety of reasons, but as Sean mentioned, it doesn't have to be done that way. And so
Okay. So then you developed those questions and then the council members looked at them before and then said, okay, I mean, just,
Were added and deleted.
yeah, no formal action because then it would have to be done in public and that defeats the
Yeah.
purpose. So of an interview.
Madam Mayor, I should be able to shift my schedule. to make
Okay,
that work.
All right. So are there any concerns or questions with regards to that? The schedule is proposed, keeping open the November 28th date for the appointment.
That's fine.
It's fine, yes.
Okay, so that would, and I'm going to open up public comment then at this time. Is there public comment?
I'm sorry. I think
Oh,
I interrupted. Were you going to have Gary say something? Sorry.
I don't have anything to add, actually.
Oh.
Your city manager's overview was excellent. I'm happy to answer any questions. So
Oh. Okay.
all right. Our Madam Clerk's going to get the timer ready. Lots of beeping going.
Thank you, Amy.
All right.
There's a simple path through this. I'm surprised you are overlooking it. And that is, in the past, we've, when the timing works out right, and there's been an election, we've appointed the next person who got the most votes. You haven't even discussed that option yet here. And that is still an option, isn't it?
Sure.
yeah, if that person is still a resident and a registered voter here in the city,
Mm-hmm.
then yes.
Well, the reason I bring that up is because the election before all your residents, people got exposed to the candidates. They voted, and had Daniel resigned a day before they counted the votes, that person would be on the council right now. If there'd been 2 vacancies, he would have been on the council. He or she, I can't remember who it was. Anyway, I don't understand why you're going through this drill unless you just patently reject the fact that this person was already presented, ran a campaign, presented himself to the public, had a plan that he wanted to bring to bear, and why would you not just appoint that person? Thank you.
Thank you. Additional public comment?
Good evening, Richard Hall, bottom line lawyers and chairperson of the Government Affairs Economic Development Commission of the Chamber of Commerce. First, thank you for your time, and I really am sorry to hear about Daniel's departure from the council. It's a great loss for the city. I believe it'll be wonderful for the state, but it's still a loss for us. I'm here to endorse the staff's recommendation that we don't have an election for that. I do think that would be imprudent in terms of city resources. Because I have a vested interest, I'm not going to express an opinion about the appointment process. I'm sure that this council will do what is democratic and fair. And that is the extent of my comments for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional public comment? Madam Clerk, any comments online? All right. I'll bring this back to the council then, seeing that there is no further public comment. This is an action item. So do we have a motion?
Wait,
I move.
Oh,
I
I'm
think I have a
sorry.
little bit more discussion about that option. In the past, have we traditionally done that before? What happened?
We did that one, and I can comment it because it was me.
Okay.
I got involved both times.
Because it's barely been,
So-
it hasn't even been a year since the
Yes,
election, so
so-
it is pretty recent.
We, prior to Mayor Kirby's death, the last time the council, there was a vacancy during the council term was when I stepped off the city council 1 year before my term ended in 2005, when I was appointed by then Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger to join his cabinet. And so at that time, there was only 1 year left in my term. And so the council did appoint Bridget Powers. There was just 1 year left in the term. She was on the planning commission, and so she was appointed at that time. When, of course, Mayor Kirby passed away, the council elected this process, which included the application process. And there was even a shorter amount of time left before the election. And they went this way. So the precedent has been set. It doesn't mean you can't do something different. It's totally up to us. But I feel like this is a good opportunity to really get to know candidates, give other candidates an opportunity to come forward. And it is something that we just did. We just went through this, 3 years ago.
I understand that. I'm not necessarily in favor of the way that things will always happen, no matter which way that is. But I also know how much effort it does take to run an election and how much work it is to go out and be in front of everyone and go and meet all the public and make speeches and all of that. So I think it's worth talking about whether that's a viable option of who that next person is that actually did make all that effort, raise that money, walk around to people's doors, as opposed to just kind of opening it up. I know that we get to interview them, but they wouldn't have had to go through that entire process. So I think that is a valid option that we should consider.
And I appreciate that. I just think that since we did use this other method, just a few years ago, it seemed to work very well. I respect that, there are two ways, there are different ways that you can go about doing this.
Did Bridget run for office before? Is that when she got appointed?
I think that she did run. But again, again, that was in 2005. It was just, it was a very different time for a lot of different reasons. And, and I don't know, I don't know, my colleagues, actually really just you, Sandy. You were the only ones the only person that was on the council at the time that I was appointed.
Right.
Because the rest, so I don't know what went on into the discussion. I don't remember what went into the discussion to decide that you do a application versus.
I don't, quite honestly,
Remember.
excuse me. There was no discussion from my recollection to just appoint someone. We wanted it to be open and fair and open to everyone. And so we opened it up. And
One election
Yeah.
is open and fair and open to everyone. That's why it's
well,
not random appointment.
except that, then you get into personally. I mean, I think that's something to think about, definitely. And I understand, I've been there, done that. In
We all
terms
have.
of, first of all, the person, excuse me, the individual who we end up appointing is only going to be there for a year. Then they will have to, if they want to continue, they will have to go through the process again
Mhm.
of campaigning. But, you get into the whole, how much they lose by, who, and the public didn't really vote, the person didn't really win. There's all kinds of ifs and contingencies. I think very personally for me, the fair way is to open it up, and certainly that person can apply, and that person obviously has an advantage because they are able to show that they have gone to the energy and the effort, and certainly we know more about that person. So my preference is to go through the process of the application. I would not think that doing a special election is very prudent at all.
No.
And I like the timeline. And I do think we need to advertise it, though, if we go this route, and make sure that anybody and everybody who wants to apply applies and is given a fair chance.
And I'd just like to say, I think that there's an expectation from the public. I mean, aside from Mr. Snyder, most people that have approached me on this issue have asked what the options were and have been supportive of the application process.
I don't think we've ever talked about this other option of picking the next person in line, though, that I've heard of. Anyone's actually told the public
Yeah, I
that's a
mean,
possibility.
Yeah, and and like I said, it did happen, in 2005 when Bridget was picked. But and it happens, I don't know, just recently in Rockland, Dave was appointed, but I think there was an application. I don't,
Yeah.
So, I mean, other jurisdictions are doing this as well. You said it happened in Loomis as well. So it's kind of the times now. I mean, back
Okay.
then it was just a
This
different.
is the best practice now?
It seems to be that's what a lot of our other jurisdictions are doing. and
Yeah,
this is what-
so in Loomis, this has happened twice to me, once with the council member, once with the elected treasurer. Both times it was done through application process.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I think things have changed a lot, like I said, since 2005. And,
Okay.
and so, and the public also kind of wants to have that participation process through the hearing at least anyway. So,
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we had fully discussed the options.
sure. It's always good to have discussion and to think about all the options. And I appreciate that Mr. Snyder brought that up because that is something that we utilized way back in 2005 when I stepped down. Gosh,
Ready to make a motion?
all right. Okay, so is there any further discussion? And if there is not, then yes, Madam
Yes,
Councilwoman.
I move that we have an application process for our next, well, is there a better way of saying this here?
You could say I move staff's recommendation.
I move
Save yourself some breath, with the
Yeah.
exception of adding the special meeting for the.
with the
special
special
appointment.
meeting November 28th. So yes, that would be my
All right, second.
motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Did Mr. City Attorney have anything to say? You look like you're,
Nothing else to add.
okay, nothing to add to the motion. All right, with that said, Madam Clerk, please did we have public comment? We did have public comment. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Amara.
Yes.
Holmes,
Aye.
Riddell Harris.
Aye.
Mayor Dowden Calvillo.
Let the record show the motion has been adopted, and so the application will go out tomorrow then, Mr. City Manager? Okay. All right, good luck to all of those of you that are interested in pursuing appointment to the City Council. Next item on the agenda is reports, and the first report is from our City Manager.
So I got a couple things. Sorry about that. Quickly, police department tomorrow will be swearing in 2 police officer reserves, our newest dispatcher, and a part-time records clerk here in the council chambers tomorrow at 10 a.m. Folks love the Caltrans right-of-way project on Highway 49. That project scheduled to move into phase 2 on November 1st, which is going to include closing Borland Avenue. There's a detour available for both residents and businesses. Our management analyst for the airport, Ty Richardson, is attending an airport leadership training this week. He's also one of the Sacramento Valley Leadership Academy members from the city this year, along with one of our public works employees named Tim Percival. I am going to be flying to DC tomorrow for a conference through the end of the week for the Placer Business Alliance. So I'll be appointing our chief of police, acting city manager while I'm out, and hoping to talk about fire related issues for sure with folks in DC. And then the last thing I wanted to note is that we've been in recent communication with the, I believe he's the business owner. I don't know if he's the property owner of Mickey's Boots. And he is going to start that project back up here quickly. Hopefully, I've pledged anything that we can do to get that business opened up that he's looking to put their Remedy. Anything that we can do to get Remedy opened up, we're going to do that to make sure that we can get that building cleaned up and looking nice and getting that business open. That's all that I got.
That's great news. I know that he's been working on that project for quite a number of years now, so it'll be good to see that move forward. Thank you so much. Councilwoman Riddell Harris, do you have any council reports?
We had a vector board meeting to discuss the different activities that have been going on around the vector board. The mosquitoes are getting better, thank goodness. And so but they did find the more non-native versions of some of the mosquitoes have traveled a little bit further east than they normally had in the past. So they're going to be working with some of the neighborhoods in Rockland and places to kind of keep those under control and they didn't find any diseases, but they're the ones that could carry those diseases. So they're being a little more cautious. And then they are going to be doing a strategic planning session next month. So I'm going to hopefully be able to participate in that. And then the Economic Development Commission met to discuss we discussed a lot about the process that went on with this grant funding cycle, things we could do to improve that, and also to talk about the branding effort that's going on and the next steps along with that. But those are the main meetings. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Councilman Holmes.
Well, I just wanted to mention that, this right now in California, there's a effort to take a look at flood control. And as some of you know, Auburn has worked on a program to try to get the Army Corps of Engineers to relieve some of the flooding that has taken place during heavy storms from the upper area at Alta Vista and that area that comes through town and into Old Town. And so I'm interested in reviving that to see whether we want to proceed with pursuing getting the Army Corps of Engineers interested in doing something with that project. Also, I'll be meeting with the Auburn Recreation District on Thursday. And I think there was an issue about trimming some of the areas in Auburn to reduce the weeds and so forth, and see if they have some mechanic equipment that can do that for us without having to do it by hand.
Thank you very much. Yes, Councilwoman.
Oh, yes, good. So first of all, DBA Fall Festival. Thank you. October 28th, be there, 6 o'clock, I believe. There's a lot of energy into that. And let's see, we talked about trash downtown square. They do not fund any of the pickup for the trash that's in the square downtown. Hopefully we can, get something going on that because it is an eyesore. The surface on the plaza does need to be resealed, and I think that's pretty expensive. We talked about that a little bit. November 1st is the general meeting. Anybody that's interested, at 6 o'clock at the Gomez Center. Gomez Center, right? Yeah. And there'll be trick or treat naturally. And then I want to, again, on-demand bus weekends, please. Then there's sustainability had a meeting. And there was a lot of discussion on the form-based code was, there was a presentation by Jonathan, excellent presentation that's coming along wonderfully. It's about a year out, apparently. The general plan update was discussed a little bit. Our budget, the city manager is working diligently at getting with the individuals so that that can move forward. City Hall front lawn, there's an arborist report, and that was very interesting because the trees, they're non-native and they need a lot of water. So they're trying to figure out ways to work with that and also work with PCWA to get a lawn rebate money so that to help us with that project. But before that, there's going to be some drawings and designs. And then Placer High School reported that the students that come to the meeting gave a very nice report. They do a lot, the group at Placer High School. They had a recycle opportunity, Earth Day. They have a podcast. They participate in the American River Cleanup, and they're just a great group of kids that attend all of sustainability's meetings. And what else? And then as far as the pickleball and the park, there was consensus that there would be for ADA, there'd be a lift rather than try and do a ramp. So that was the consensus on that. And there was an informal meeting with a kind of a side bike group. And that was to talk about the grants, the sustainability $5,000 grants, and working with the city on the 7 racks that we have in placement. And there will be a company that will give us an opportunity to see where the best placement for bike racks are and to buy some racks that are really decorative. So anyway, that was interesting discussion. And the thought was also to even get some pump racks with wrenches and that kind of thing. But I think we thought that idea will not work because of the whole problem with the upkeep and vandalism, that kind of thing. So anyway, that was a good meeting, and that's basically all I have to report.
Sandy, I have a question on the lift for the pickleball alternate use area.
Yes.
A lift sound outdoors where we already have some issues with vandalism sounds like it's asking for a lot of maintenance problems. Do we
don't know.
anything
Maybe
about?
Jonathan, you were there. You could.
If you got a bunch of teenagers around and there's a lift that they're going to be able to have free access to, I don't want anyone hurting themselves or breaking it all the time. I'm just a little concerned.
It has to be locked.
Well, then you can't use it.
Yeah, but like at night, I mean, during right, but Jonathan, go ahead.
I think they'd break it in the middle of the day.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, council members. Jonathan Wright, Community and Economic Development Director. We went through every option. I mean, the option
No, I
for
get
pathway
it.
development and having a cost-effective approach to meet the requirements for Americans with Disabilities Act. We kept going back and forth, kept coming back to the lift. And you're right, there is a concern with that. As far as the vendor that we met with, there's a locking mechanism in there that keeps it from being operated without the key. Where it's be located, there's very few locations. It'd be right below where we actually have the camera system that's down there now, adding some protection. Plus there's adequate lighting right there. So is there a possibility that somebody could, scratch in the plexiglass and those things? It's more than likely going to happen.
Mhm.
The most important thing is meeting our requirements for Americans with Disabilities Act and trying to get that.
So if it can't be accessed without a key, who's going to hold the key and how are they going to actually get access to it? Because if they were coming here on a weekday or a weekend and they want to use it.
So the vendor who installs these all over the place said that many people that are wheelchair bound actually have the key. This is
It's the
uniform.
unit. Okay.
So, but if they don't, we are required to have a form of communication inside of the lift.
Mhm.
So they would be able to call to dispatch and somebody could come down and let them in if it was after hours. And if the park is closed, then obviously it's going to be off and done. But during regular hours, if we knew people were going to be out there, we could certainly go down and make sure that it's usable.
Okay.
That makes sense to have it locked all the time. And then if there is a key, they have a key. And if they need a key, they can just call. So
That makes more sense.
that's, yeah. Thank
Okay.
you so
Thank
much
you.
for that. Mhm.
Thank you. Yeah. And there will be a lot of people who'll be there doing pickleball watching. And I also want to say, I have heard that there is a new, either the ball or the paddle is coming out where it's much quieter.
Oh,
So
quiet.
there you go.
There's
Nice.
my
Solved that
invention.
big problem.
I've been working on that in my
Oh, man.
garage for months now.
That's right. Sorry about that, Jonathan. You're gonna have to put in a few more years here. All right, thank you. Councilwoman Amara, does that conclude your reports? Okay, thank you so much. Just a couple things to report myself. Pioneer Community Energy is celebrating its 5th anniversary this year. We will have a big to-do on November 1st. Our 5-year celebration from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Blue Goose. And if you're interested, council members, let me know. I can get you the invitation for that. So good news on that end. Well, the Endurance Capital of the World Committee met, and we were talking about our recommendation for a site for the water bottle filling station. And you'll recall, council, years ago, we had a 9-year-old resident suggest to us that we install water bottle filling stations as a means by which to promote recreational use and endurance and things of that nature. And the council then directed the Endurance Capital Committee to take on that project, which they do. And so every year we pretty much find a place to have one of these water bottle filling stations installed. We just have only done 2 so far. This year we're looking at the art park. And so we will be sitting down with the Arts Commission just to kind of give them a heads up and tell them what we're interested in that. And Menjel, this is where you come in, you come into play, because we know there's plumbing and drainage, there with the restroom. So, we would want to know the best place to have that installed and, but the committee was budgeted funds through the budget for the water bottle filling station and so forth. So again, the next step really is to talk with the Arts Commission, make sure they have no issue, and then they'll bring it to the council for approval for the actual location of it in the art park. So, which will really be where Menjel's recommending to make sure it makes sense. Good news on that end. Also just wanted to report with PCTPA, there's the Highway 49 sidewalk gap project that's been you obviously noticed along 49, the sidewalk installation and repaving and so forth. And the next phase of that really is affecting Auburn from, and I'm so bad about, it's within the city limits. So where the grocery outlet is, that lighting intersection to Palm. And the idea is to have sidewalk installed on the EV Kane side and other improvements. Unfortunately, it goes up, there's 3 miles. Unfortunately, PG&E has come in with their estimate to underground utilities for the 3-mile stretch at $1.7 million. So with that said, there will be some downscoping of the project itself because there are only so many funds available. And so we don't know just yet what that downscoping will be, but it won't be the full project that we envision because the utility undergrounding 3 miles, $1.7 million, which
I will tell you, working in the electric utility industry, our prices are coming in 2 and 3 times what we estimate them 6 months ago.
And that's what's happened in this instance, because at the time that the project was originally bid, it was much less.
Yeah.
And
No.
so now it's
The whole
1.7.
industry is getting so much more expensive. Everyone's having to downsize projects right now.
And it's crazy too, because there's been so much more undergrounding, PG&E is doing it for fire prevention purposes and so forth. So I almost
And
kind of wonder if they're kind of
transformers-
putting in some of that into our costs.
Transformers are 2 years plus out just to get one. Like it's supply chain issues are just really dramatic right now.
Well, so in any event, we have that unfortunately. So, so that concludes my reports for this evening. Seeing there are no further items or any other issues before us, I will adjourn unless there's objection. Hearing no objection, that shall be the order. Thank you, everyone.
I guess getting home at 7:30, that was pretty good.
Yeah, 7:18.
Pretty close. Alice, I'm gonna try to go to the Pioneers.